Conspiracy theories have been around for thousands of years. From myths and fables to legends and folklore, conspiracy theories have taken on many forms throughout human history. But since the age of the internet and the rise of social media algorithms, I think it's safe to say that there has been an increase in the amount of conspiracy theories circulating throughout our society. And most of these conspiracy theories run rampant on short-form content platforms like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. But not all of these apps are created equal. They're all owned by different companies. They all have their own unique algorithm meant to keep the user watching for as long as possible. So my question is, which one recommends conspiracy theories the fastest? Well, today, we're gonna find out. But hold up, that's not all we're gonna be doing, because here's the twist. We're gonna be starting each one of these experiments on each platform with a different historical topic. Because I don't wanna just scroll willy-nilly until a random conspiracy theory video shows up. I wanna know how long and what specific conspiracies are recommended by each platform based on the historical topic we choose to learn more about. Do the pyramids of Giza lead you to Atlantis? Does the Renaissance eventually bring you to JFK? Or does Mesopotamia have a connection to?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Hey, it's been a minute. And today we're gonna see which social media platform promotes conspiracy theories the fastest. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 rounds for each platform with 3 different historical topics that'll be randomly chosen from these 3 lists, with the first tier being fairly broad historical topics or events, and then the third tier being more niche topics. Now, my hypothesis is that the more niche the historical topic is, the faster the algorithm will lead us to a conspiracy theory. But hey, that's just a theory. A conspiracy theory. So let's go ahead and get started with our first tier of history. Okay, so again, these are going to be our broadest historical topics. Our first lineup is ancient Rome, the pyramids of Giza, Maya, Aztec, and Inca, the American Revolution, World War II, the American Civil War, dinosaurs, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and ancient Greece. Now, these are topics that I feel like anybody who is somewhat interested in history would know a little bit about. Basically stuff that's covered in your 7th grade history class with Mr. Johnson, who is also the assistant coach of the middle school baseball team, so everyone just calls him Coach J. You know who I'm talking about. We all had a Coach J. All right, so let's spin this wheel and see which topic we're gonna kick things off with.
I can't believe it's dinosaurs. It's like the stupidest one.
All right, dinosaurs it is. Honestly, this is probably the broadest, most generic first topic we could have started with out of all of our tier 1 options. So if I had to guess, I'd say that this is probably gonna take a while. And plus, I'm not really familiar with a ton of conspiracy theories surrounding the dinosaurs. I guess except the one that claims that they were around for the Great Flood and rode on Noah's Ark because the Earth is like 6,000 years old and evolution isn't real. But you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and let the algorithm decide what the truth about dinosaurs really is. Starting off with YouTube Shorts. So as I'm sure you know with YouTube, the search function is pretty basic.
Dinosaurs?
We search our topic and then should get some suggested videos and shorts that pertain to what we're looking for.
Hey, it's Lindsay Nicole. That's cool.
And from our results so far, I was pretty happy to see that we were already getting some pretty educational content suggested to us.
Glad she shows up first, but we're not watching long form. We're watching shorts.
We needed to see what the short form looked like.
So we're gonna have to click on see which dinosaur comes out on top. I don't know. What's your guess? Let's go.
Mosasaurus or Quetzalcoatlus?
Mosasaurus.
Mosasaurus or Dilophosaurus?
I really like it, but Mosasaurus, yes.
Okay, it looks like this is like basically an ad for Jurassic World. It's not very educational, but we're learning a little bit about dinosaurs, so that's okay.
Well, with just 14 shorts in, we were already getting some conspiracy-coded content.
What would happen if dinosaurs didn't go extinct? Without the asteroid, dinosaurs would continue living for millions of years.
But nothing was definitively a conspiracy theory yet.
Okay. That's so sick.
The first 100 shorts were kind of a mixed bag. Some educational.
About 130 million years ago, during the early Cretaceous,
A lot AI generated.
All right, looks like we already got some AI slop. That's dinosaur related. This has 7 likes.
And a ton of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World videos.
Yeah, that looks so good. I love the contrast raised to 5,000.
At short 114, we got our first Neil deGrasse Tyson video.
If you dug a hole from the United States, where would you come out on the other side? Everyone says China.
That's always the case.
It's always the case.
Which, from past experience, can sometimes lead us to Joe Rogan content.
That's cool.
What's the biggest nugget you've ever found?
33 ounces.
And there we go.
Now, how much is a piece of gold like that worth right now?
Well,
But he wasn't really talking about anything conspiratorial. It's just about nuggets or something. I don't know. I skipped it pretty fast.
Biggest nugget.
That's insane.
Now, you might be wondering what my guidelines are for influencing the algorithm. Most social media algorithms take into account different variables like watch time, engagement, liking, commenting, or sharing, and if we're getting more conspiratorial, which for this video, that is obviously the goal, possible access to the camera to track eye movement. So with all that being said, the only variables I will be adjusting today is watch time and engagement. I have to like all videos that pertain to my original search or original historical topic, and I can't like any videos that deviate from the original search. However, I can watch any video I want for as long as I want, influencing the watch time. With these parameters in place, I was hoping to try to mimic a user who was simply wanting to learn more about a given topic. But at the same time, I would also be watching whatever caught my attention, which is the whole point of these algorithms. So the watch time variable would be a bit more subjective, but I tried my best to skip over any video that wasn't necessarily history related. As we keep going and throughout this video, you'll start to see the algorithm work as intended, attempting to grab my attention and drag me in new directions. Like more Joe Rogan at short 167.
Never get in a car
More
accidents. Never have to worry about them staying up all night. Every
Yeah.
Amazon package.
And more brain rot AI slop disguised as educational content at around short 197.
Years
These
ago.
aren't even like words.
It's called the longest year of death.
It was drawn drop by drop from sea snails deep in the ocean.
Everything's
Hundreds were
AI.
needed for just a...
Legends like Leif Erikson landed in
Leif
Finland
Erikson?
around 1000 AD, but they faced fierce,
What was
organized
that?
resistance.
Dinosaurs actually existed. Wouldn't their bones be everywhere?
Really? We're doing dinosaur
Oh,
survivalism? What is it, like
nice.
1830?
At short 518, we got our first mini Minuteman video, which I was very happy to see because that meant we got a conspiracy theory debunked video before getting an actual conspiracy theory video, which is great. And it's kind of serendipitous because Milo was actually the one who suggested that I make this video in the first place.
I think that starting with a fresh account and just a history video and seeing where it ends up would be very interesting.
Interesting.
So if you guys want to see episode 3,
comment down below
before the history.
So thank you, Milo. So here we are. Things were looking pretty positive. So far, YouTube, you're doing a great job.
Here's a story. I had the pleasure of connecting with George St. Pierre, legendary UFC fighter, and we went inside.
Oh. Well, yeah, we knew it would happen eventually. At short 541, YouTube recommended us a clip of Jimmy Corsetti from the YouTube channel Bright Insight, explaining on the Joe Rogan Experience how he doesn't think the pyramids were actually tombs because one time he went into one of them with a UFC fighter who laid down into a sarcophagus, you know, those things that are found in tombs, and then proceeded to have some epiphany about coming out of retirement, which obviously means that the pyramid was probably some type of a DNA restoration device. You know what? I think I might call this a conspiracy theory. We even had the right music to go along with it.
I have no idea what it was. I just don't think it was a tomb.
All right, with our first run done, it was now time to move over to TikTok. Now for each one of these runs on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, I'll be making a brand new account with absolutely no previous search history or data attached to it. These will all be blank slate profiles. If we want to keep this experiment somewhat controlled, we have to make sure the algorithm isn't influenced in any way prior to searching for historical topics. And there was really only one way I could have done this without using my own email and phone number. And that was with today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Yes, that's right. With Surfshark's alternative ID and alternative number features, I'm able to create a brand new online identity and a proxy email address and number. So my real info stays private and my actual inbox and phone number doesn't get flooded with spam. I barely use my real email or phone number anymore for signing up for stuff because it's actually that helpful. And my identity stays safe. Plus, and this is honestly my favorite part when it comes to saving money, instead of paying for like 5 different streaming services or having to pirate movies and shows off of sketchy websites like it's 2010, I've instead used Surfshark VPN to change my virtual location to different countries, getting access to content that isn't on my good old American Netflix account. Can't find a specific movie that you've been wanting to watch? Well, how about you virtually skip on over to Italy and maybe they have it. Plus, that movie might even be better in Italian. Buongiorno! So I'm happy to say that you can go to surfshark.com/Benaminute or use code Benaminute at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN totally for free. And what's great is there's no risk in at least trying Surfshark because they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. These days, just about everyone needs a VPN to stay safe online. So why not try Surfshark for free? And a huge thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. All right, back to it. So TikTok's search feature is a bit different from YouTube's. I couldn't just search dinosaurs and then start watching dino content. I instead needed to prime my algorithm so my For You page would feed me dinosaur-related videos. So I searched dinosaurs. I watched and commented on a handful of these search results so the algorithm would know what I wanted to see. By the way, I didn't count these videos as part of the run, as these were just a necessity to get my For You page ready. After indicating to the almighty TikTok algorithm that I wanted to watch dinosaur content,
more dinosaur, nice.
I watched about 5 dinosaur videos that came up when I searched for dinosaurs, and then
got our clicker set to 0. Ready to go? We'll refresh. First one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the...
There we go. Dinosaurs. Gotta give it a like.
Voila. The TikTok algorithm was working as intended, showing me dino and dino-related content.
It's about dinosaurs.
Why are you working so hard?
I have to make a living.
All right, how many TikToks did it take to get to a conspiracy theory? Well, a lot less than YouTube Shorts. After getting mostly dino content, as expected, on my 144th TikTok, I got this.
Oh no, I think we might be here. 2025 and people still don't know about the Treb? Never searching up the gorge.
I scrolled a little further past this one just for fun and found that not only is the Earth being invaded by aliens, but also the rapture is going to happen on September 24th.
Got it. All right, we're definitely there. 187, the rapture's happening tomorrow.
Do not believe anything that you see or hear.
Okay, so basically the rapture is supposed to happen in the next couple of days. That's going to be really exciting. I hope I can get this video out before that happens. I probably can't, so you'll probably never see this video because hopefully I'm going to heaven.
Well, I'm recording this on September 25th, so either TikTok was wrong or I am unworthy of rapture. Comment down below which one you think it is. All right, time for Instagram Reels. So Instagram Reels. It was pretty similar to TikTok and Shorts. Kinda educational.
Don't you love it when fossils preserve soft tissue and we get to know exactly what they look like?
Kinda dumb. And kinda AI. But then, not to my surprise, at our 661st reel, we got recommended this.
Oh yeah, we're here. The forbidden phone from the 2000s lets you see into a parallel dimension.
Wow, a phone that can transport you into a different reality, where the laughing cow doesn't have a ring on its nose. The multiverse is real, and so is the Mandela effect, because I actually can't even remember if the cow has a ring on its nose or not. You know what, I gotta check something real quick. Hold up. It doesn't have a ring on its nose. Look. Myth busted. Is it Berenstein or Berenstein? Who cares? Okay, all right, we were done with our first tier of the broad history topics. And here's what our results were looking like so far. Reels took the longest amount of time, while TikTok was the quickest. My favorite part about all 3 of these runs so far is how fast your timeline completely falls apart the second you get one conspiracy video.
The ancient Egyptians were masters of proportion, but the head of the Sphinx is way too small in relation to the body.
You watch one of these videos and then your algorithm just becomes inundated with conspiracy theory slop.
There are rumors that dinosaurs are still alive and that the government are keeping them enclosed on islands like this one.
So now it was time to get a little more niche with our historical topics. And up next, our potential options were the space race, the civil rights movement, the Industrial Revolution, the slave trade, the Cold War, women's suffrage, the Vietnam War, Mesopotamia, the Ottoman Empire, and 9/11. Now, we've graduated from middle school. These were topics that you might learn about more in a high school history class. Except women's suffrage and the civil rights movement. I don't think you're allowed to teach that anymore. Because, you know, that's woke and gay. So let's spin our wheel and find out where we're starting next.
All right, we're going to Nam.
Alrighty, so like with the dinosaurs on YouTube, we were first getting some pretty educational content.
It was about maybe 10 o'clock at night. It just really gotten really dark. I got to looking really, really hard.
And I thought it was pretty cool watching these interviews with Vietnam War vets.
That is a...
You volunteered for a Singleton mission?
Oh, God.
There were a lot
Sean
of
Ryan show.
The mission was to go
that only took seven shorts.
But that did lead us to the Sean Ryan Show, which, if you're not familiar, is a very far-right podcast where they do interview a lot of military people and veterans, which is fine, but they also interview some more conservative-leaning political figures like, oh, I don't know, the entire Trump administration. But you know what? Whatever. This isn't a video about the alt-right pipeline. This is a video about conspiracy theories. But from past experience, and if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that the right-wing shorts can pretty quickly lead to information that's how do I say this? Not really based in reality.
Is this Noah's Ark proved? Watch.
Drovestones look like giant anchors. These are so big, they're the size of a car.
Whether Proof of Noah's Ark?
Yeah, exactly, like that one.
What? Well, that took 13. 13 shorts.
Okay, well, we got proof of Noah's Ark, and it only took 13 shorts. Yes, let me repeat that. 13 shorts is how long that took. Well, I went forward a couple more shorts just for fun, and of course, look who it is.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure.
There are things that have gone underground in Egypt that, for whatever reason, is just off limits to the public. My life.
That was 4 shorts later.
So remember, watch out for the Vietnam War to Noah's Ark pipeline, folks. It's very strong and very short. That's what she said. Okay, well, let's hope that TikTok takes a little bit longer. All right, so again, we started with some educational content about the Vietnam War, but that very quickly fell more into the camp of military content.
Okay, now we got a military edit.
Once you go down, you don't get back up at night.
This is that same Sean Ryan Show clip.
And look at that, the exact same Sean Ryan Show interview. Honestly, I should have expected this, but the right-wing side of American politics kind of has a strong hold on military talk, if you're not aware.
He turns his A-10 down through the storm.
Very clear image of Tyler Robinson, allegedly taken, I'll say allegedly for safety here, but it's looking right according to my timeline, allegedly taken.
Okay, so this is where things just kind of went off the rails and got really political and current events heavy.
That Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false.
50 states, one Israel. I thought it was supposed to be 50 states, one America.
Not looking good for Israel.
Controls the United States.
And all of that led us to our first conspiracy TikTok on this run, which was this.
Where have I seen that kid that shot Trump in the ear before? A BlackRock commercial!
Okay, this is another conspiracy theory, isn't it? Yeah, this is like connecting BlackRock to an attempted assassination on Trump. 161 shorts.
Remember that guy that tried to off Trump during his campaign, but instead shot his ear, which healed very nicely and bigly? Well, that kid, Thomas Crooks, was also in a BlackRock commercial.
It is true that July's shooter, Thomas Crooks, did appear in a BlackRock ad in 2022.
Which I have to admit is kind of a weird coincidence, but the conspiracy theory here is that this guy is implying that BlackRock, the financial services company, had something to do with trying to take out Donald Trump. Which, whether you think this event was faked or not, that is technically a conspiracy theory. Well, this was a weird one, so I kept going a little further just to see what would happen next, and my entire timeline turned into Israel conspiracy theories and also Christian content about the Antichrist's return.
CIA warned President Kennedy that Israel was developing a nuclear weapon. A new national intelligence estimate concluded that the Dimona reactor would become operational later that year, and that by 1964 could produce enough plutonium for one.
Everybody is pretty certain that they could come to this
We're definitely there
conclusion
now.
if you just dial in and look at the signs.
I know I've already said it before, but watching your algorithm completely fall apart in a matter of seconds after seeing one conspiracy theory, it's really something.
What if I told you that a research lab in Eastern Europe knows exactly what happens the moment that you die?
So, TikTok took the Vietnam War and led us to Thomas Crooks being hired by BlackRock to take out DJT. And that took 161 TikToks. Longer than our YouTube Shorts journey, but still pretty damn short. All right, Instagram, let's see what you got. I first started with curating my Vietnam War algorithm by searching for reels on the topic, and then telling Instagram that this is the kind of stuff I'm interested in by liking, commenting, and sending the reels to other users on the app.
I'll send it to Spree Carpenter. Check it out. Vietnam Tunnel.
Once our algorithm was primed, the reels started to flow.
Hindenburg and Ludendorff. The great bromance that we'll be covering in a future episode.
And yeah, it was pretty similar to TikTok. A lot of political content.
In times of military crisis, you can be sure that
we got George
someone
Carlin.
in this
Videos about Palantir.
Here is 3 grams of sheep explosive.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Palantir.
I plan.
Stuff about foreign leaders. But still nothing conspiratorial yet, until we got this one.
When George Bush and Al Gore ran for president, they had 3 debates. Nobody said, what are you going to do when the twin trade towers come down, when the Pentagon's bombed? When the twin trade towers come down, when the Pentagon's bombed, when the Pentagon's bombed, when the Pentagon's bombed.
All right, well.
When George Bush and Al Gore.
We got there.
And there we had it. Bill did 9/11. Or, I mean, Bush did not, or Bill helped Bush do 9/11? I don't really know. This is a new one for me. But regardless, that one took 139 reels to get to. These history to conspiracy theory pipelines are getting a lot shorter. Oh yeah, and about 25% of all the videos I got leading up to the Bill Clinton one was all anti-Semitism.
Origin of European Jews who had been entering America in large numbers since the 1880s. The Jews had secretly gained control of most Protestant.
What started with one video criticizing Israel devolved into this.
Jews, who made up only 1% of the world's population, accounted for 34% of the world's dope peddlers and 47% of robberies. 47% of crooked games of chance.
Okay.
82% of international crime.
All right, this is not.
If only there were independent organizations dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism online. You know, ones that actually focused on people spreading hate against the Jewish community, instead of going after the people who were speaking out against the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. That'd be nice. Anyway, it was clear that Instagram Reels is extremely unhinged when it comes to content moderation.
And Mr. President, between 2 groups of Jews.
The Synagogue of Satan.
So far, the second tier took much less time across all the platforms to recommend conspiracy theories. This made a lot of sense to me. You know, just searching dinosaurs is so generic and broad and not really focused on a historical event that people today are closely tied to. But the Vietnam War, on the other hand, well, that wasn't that long ago. And it was political. People remember that. I guess I wasn't surprised to see that it led us to conspiratorial content faster. Vietnam is just more relevant today than dinosaurs are. And that's probably the first time anyone's ever said that sentence. So now it was time to move on to our final tier, the most niche historical topics. On the list of possible choices, we had Göbekli Tepe, the Byzantine Empire, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Apollo 11 moon landing, Chernobyl, Mesa Verde, the Nazca Lines, the 2000 presidential election, Franz Ferdinand, and Watergate. These are topics you might not even learn about in grade school, like who is Franz Ferdinand? You mean the Scottish rock band with the hit single Take Me Out? Obviously, I know a lot of these aren't too niche because I still wanted to pick topics that would have a lot of content surrounding them online. I didn't want to put something like, I don't know, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo into the search bar on TikTok because there might be like one video about that. Yo, I don't know if you guys have heard the news yet, but President Polk just got a ton of new states for us guys. I mean, this shit is crazy. We got California, we got Nevada, we got Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and even parts of Colorado, Wyoming, and Kansas. Guys, comment down below what y'all think. This is insane. God, the US just got so much bigger. Shout out Polk. But overall, I thought these would still satisfy a more niche interest in history while still being popular enough to have a lot of content about them. So let's spin the wheel and see which one we're going to be researching.
Oh God, oh God, oh no. Oh man. Okay.
Wow, okay, well I feel like this one is going to get pretty fun.
Okay, I feel like this one's going to get out of hand so fast. We ready? Let's do it.
In 2000, Al Gore ran against George W. Bush.
Donald Trump is running for president not a third time, but a fourth time.
As usual, things started out pretty educational. Shout out Mr. Beat. But then YouTube must have decided that after a few shorts, I had learned enough, and it was time for some gun content.
Could a concrete highway barrier stop a bullet? I'm gonna shoot this 2,000-pound highway barrier.
That naturally brings us to more Sean Ryan show clips.
Do you think we should have ever been there in the first place?
Oh my God. Dude, Sean Ryan?
And then from here, things got pretty political again.
His supporters see him as a strong leader fighting for their voice, but his critics, they say the controversies around him are just too much.
And the political shorts actually led us back to Chris Well.
Suspension.
Trump versus Obama.
And above all else, we know this in America.
Is this the same guy?
We don't worship government.
The guy that gave us the Noah's Ark video from the first tier.
But the life and death and resurrection of Jesus Christ forever changed the world. Ultimate source of our strength and of our...
Today, would we teach in the schools? Would it be James Dobson or Al Sharps? Which passages of scripture should guide our public policy?
Obama was so bad. Trump good.
But as weird as this short was, it wasn't a conspiracy theory. So I kept going.
Noticeable bulge on the back, leading to speculation that she might have been wearing a specially designed bulletproof vest. But what
Okay. But then we got this.
It's considered one of...
Is this Noah's Ark proved? Watch.
Drovestones look like giant anchors. These are so big, they're the
It's
size
the
of a
same
car.
one.
Well, and they found them in the Mediterranean.
Yes, the exact same Chris Well video. YouTube loves this video so much, it recommended it to me, a new user, mind you, twice, on 2 separate occasions. Well, I kept going a bit more and got more insane Chris Well videos.
Are giants actually real like the Bible says? Watch this.
We were in Chiapas, Mexico, and on a mountain, we saw a giant.
This is
For about
insane.
25 minutes, I stared at it. It did not rattle my face.
And pretty much decided to call it a day after a few of these.
You ever seen that video? No.
Pull that up. Hey, Jamie. Why don't you pull that up? Jamie, why don't you pull up the face of God real quick? I want to look at that.
And that took us exactly 136 YouTube shorts. Okay, TikTok, your turn. What do you have to teach us about the 2000 presidential election? Well, apparently not much. This one was pretty short. We got a bunch of right-wing coded content almost right off the bat.
Okay, Team Trump. Okay, 26 TikToks.
I was his enemy, yet still he cried for me.
Charlie Kirk, your content persists even after death. Good job. And then a few TikToks later, we got this.
And I don't know if this has any connection to it, is the 24th is also the same day that Israel is going to internationally broadcast their trumpet ceremony. They're going to have 100 rabbis blowing 100 horns.
Okay, all right, we're back to the rapture happening. That took only 38 TikToks. And then if we just keep scrolling a little bit more, we find that there is actually much, much more than just the rapture that is about to happen.
So Representative Ro Khanna announced yesterday that they
The 23rd of September is going to be a big day? But what about the 24th? I thought the 24th was going to be a big day.
September the 7th to September the 21st will be the most important 2 weeks of the rest of your life, and you only have 4 days left to prepare.
I feel like I have a lot to worry about now. September 24th, September 23rd, September 7th through the 21st, and that's not even including September 11th.
Well, that was our shortest TikTok journey yet. Now it was time for our final run, starting with researching the 2000 presidential election on Instagram Reels.
Look at that. It's already perfect. We got Bush showing up.
All right, great. Good content so far. Everything seems pretty pertinent to the 2000 election. Any guesses on what's next? Did you guess anti-Semitism? Well, you should have, because that's what it was.
Okay, we got Iran military official. Alright, kinda early for that, I'm gonna be honest.
And then after that, just 12 reels later, here we are.
Alright, let me read these. The explosions are getting bigger. You started hearing more explosions. It just seemed like a huge explosion. Explosions on the upper floors. Y'all, that took 26 reels.
It was actually a bomb in the World Trade Center that did that, not a plane. Okay, well, in total, that took just 26 reels. About 1 minute and 50 seconds to be exact.
Listen to what we were trying to show and tell you. This is not an old threat. It's current and still looming and creating damage on U.S. soil with all sorts of ways in the dark. Wake up. Okay, let's dive into the comments.
Any guesses on who the Instagram commenters think put a bomb in the World Trade Center?
Israel did 9/11 button. All right. Were these algorithms always like this? There used to be moderation, right? Now everything just feels so scary and hateful and so AI. Conspiracy theories used to be fun. Now everything is a conspiracy theory. And I mean, honestly, for good reason, too. I don't trust the government or our leaders anymore. Did you see that anti-ice bullet the FBI posted on Twitter? What even was that? If we can't trust them, then who can we trust? Maybe conspiracies spread so easily because they're perfect for grabbing our attention. That's the game now. Attention. We don't even make things anymore. What value do we produce but our own attention? We are the products. So what if these apps were built to keep us angry, divided, distracted? Or is that just another conspiracy theory? No, that's the point. All of this is distraction from the only one real truth. It's not aliens or pyramids or Jewish people. It's not the left or the right. It's up versus down. And if you're watching this, then you're down.
So which social media app led us to conspiracy theories the fastest? Well, here are the results. Instagram Reels averaged 275 short-form videos until a conspiracy theory was recommended. YouTube Shorts averaged 230 before one was suggested. And then TikTok came in first place with an average of 114 videos until a conspiracy theory was recommended. TikTok was by far the quickest to lead you down this pipeline. With the average time of a short-form video being about 30 seconds, here's how long it took on each app to get us there. Reels took 138 minutes, or 2.3 hours. YouTube Shorts at 115 minutes, or 1.9 hours, and TikTok with just 57 minutes of scrolling. This is the attention economy. Without our attention, the value of these tech companies and their CEOs would be nothing. These platforms have become inundated with untruthful, low-effort conspiratorial slop. Conspiracy theories are cheap. You can just say, oh, I don't know about that, or hey, that seems weird, but I'm just asking questions, and just taking that approach will naturally garner more attention than the truth, with almost little to no effort. When we become so used to this low-effort, brain rot slop, over time, the cheaper our attention becomes. And the cheaper our attention becomes, the more those controlling these algorithms profit. It's a lot easier to make something up with no evidence than it is to debunk and explain something that might be kind of complicated to understand. But I do get it. I see the appeal of conspiracy theories. I'm a human who has a monkey brain, who can be tricked by people and explanations that seem legitimate. After all, I think we're all looking for an explanation to why everything feels so f***ed up right now. This is the conspiracy theory pipeline. It's a mix between algorithms prying for our attention and a deeply distrustful society that we are all part of. Because when people are struggling economically, when they can't afford to achieve all of these milestones that were promised to them, when they feel like their political leaders don't represent them and that they don't have a voice, then you start to question why all these things are happening. Who did this to me? You seek answers online. You start to lose trust in the people and institutions who promised you that things would be good. And then you look for someone to blame. And when it comes to conspiracy theories online, usually the wrong people end up being blamed for why your material life is still bad. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the only conspiracy theory worth looking into. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like so that it gets recommended to more people who are like-minded, like all of y'all watching this. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel or checking out my Patreon to support me in making more videos like this. And if you want to, you can stick around and check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy watching next. Anyway, it's been a minute, and thank you so much for watching.